Hi there everyone, Morten Ostad here with another video. Welcome to my channel. In this video I will be tackling Cristian Osorio's Iron Maiden tag for 2026. The only Iron Maiden tag out there, and it's a cracker. Yes, Cristian, of course, with his channel located down there in Santiago de Chile, in the country of Chile. He's an avid Iron Maiden fan, and he is an all-round good bloke, good people. He is a guy who's been following my channel and me his channel for a while now. He's so good at commenting, always positive, and always a little bit of a, finding a little thing about your video that you might not have thought of about the artist and so on. And he's done up 20 questions, was it? Or prompts about Iron Maiden that we will hopefully be able to tackle in this video. There is a bonus prompt set forth by the eminent Kim over there in Odense in Denmark. Iron Maiden is his favorite band. Where does Iron Maiden stand in my... Well, I have a very broad taste in music, and I try not to sort of pigeonhole my favorites in whatever genre they are, but let's say that I have a favorite band in the heavy metal world, hard rock world, and it's sort of a competition sometimes, but I would say that Iron Maiden is my favorite band in the heavy metal world. And since AC/DC is maybe more in the hard rock world, I can, create some sort of peace treaty between those two bands. So the first prompt or tag: let there be Maiden. Who or how did you discover the band? So in 1985, I had just turned 14, and I made a bunch of friends, new friends or friends in Skagen, my sort of second home, my raison d'être. And one of those guys was a kid called Lars, and Lars was a heavy metal kid. And he is the one that I blame for introducing me to AC/DC first and foremost. He was really, really huge when he came to AC/DC. But I'm pretty sure that he is the one who sort of pushed me or pointed me in the direction of Iron Maiden. And I bought my very first Iron Maiden record on cassette. I don't have that one anymore. It was one of those EMI... Wasn't it EMI who did those nice price things where the cassette had like a yellowish, brown, almost skin-colored frame on it? And this was my very first Iron Maiden record, Power Slave. And, eyesight being better back then, I'm sure I studied that cassette cover intently, but I know I got my first Iron Maiden vinyl album not very long after, and I think my first vinyl was probably Peace of Mind. So just a little thing here, I have all my Iron Maiden vinyl albums up to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son from back in my teenage years. However, all of them are in Denmark, except that one, which I got framed when I got the signed photograph of the band, when I was a member of the fan club there for a while. So number 2 is Who Needs Words? ? Your favorite Iron Maiden instrumental. And if I remember correctly, there are only 4 bona fide instrumentals, whereof 2 of them I think are on the debut. And my favorite is the one I discovered first, which was again on Power Slave. and that is, of course, the track Lost for, where is it? There it is, I think. Yeah, Lost for Words, parentheses, Big Aura. That is such a great instrumental. It moves in and out of various tempos and styles, and I am very fond of that. Thinking now, I'm a little worried that this tag won't be looking at some of my favorite albums and so on. So I just want to sort of say that I might wrap up a couple of things at the end there, because, for example, I don't want people to think I'm underrating Paul Di'Anno, for example. Number 3, Revelations. Your favorite lyrics. So my favorite lyrics are from the, let's say, we still sort of say latter day Iron Maiden, although, you know, it's been 26 years now since they got back together with Bruce and Adrian, but I think most people will know what I mean by that. It is from the album Dance of Death. It is written by what I feel is the Iron Maiden historian, Adrian Smith, and it's Passchendaele. I am really, really passionate about history, and I read a lot of books about World War II, but also about World War I and other historical things. A lot of British history, I guess. And it is also called the Third Battle of Ypres. The duration was from July to November 1917. It was just a complete and disastrous bloodbath of unfathomable, I mean, yeah. Lloyd George said in 1938, and I think that sort of also talks a little bit about the you know, the zeitgeist in the Western world in the late 30s, even though they saw the threat of Hitler and Nazi Germany and everything, they still, you know, had a trauma about World War I, which the Germans exchanged for a desire for revenge. And I think there's a lesson there to be learned by modern historians, but, you know, apparently they can't place their own country on a world map. He said, Passchendaele, or the Third Battle of Ypres, was indeed one of the greatest disasters of the war. No soldiers of any intelligence now defends this, what have I written there? Yeah, disastrous campaign. So, Passchendaele, of course, from Dance of Death. And there it is. A very fine album, Dance of Death. I might not be a big fan of most of the post Seventh Son, or, well, the post Derek Riggs album covers. But yeah, very fine album this. Number 4, The Angel and the Gambler. A song you don't like at all. For me, and it's not necessarily because it's written by my least favorite member of the band, but I feel Bruce's singing is strained, and what I often find a little bit, for me, a problem in latter-day Iron Maiden is a desire to dump as many words as possible, a lot of wordage, as Ben would probably say, into their songs to convey some, you know, someone's very happy about whatever lyrics they've written, and sometimes the lyrics seems a bit of a strain on the song. And in this case, we're once again back into maritime things, and the boats were coming and this and that, and the words are just galloping away in a forced way where I feel sometimes the music doesn't keep up with it. And Bruce sounds so strained in this song as well. And it's a shame because otherwise this somewhat neglected record, in my opinion, is really wonderful. I saw them touring this record, but it's the Talisman. It also comes in at 9 minutes, which again is a latter day, Iron Maiden thing. Songs are very long these days. It's only surpassed by When the Wild Wind Blows at nearly 11 minutes. So Talisman, not a favorite song of mine at all. Number 5, Killers. Not that Killers. Favorite deep track. So we actually go to one of the so-called latter day albums again here with Brave New World. Last one where we got something from Derek. And I like the song Fallen Angel a lot. So I like the lyrics. Could this be the end of the world? All the things that I cherish and love, nothing left but to face this all on my own, because I am the chosen one. I love that lyric there. Again, from Adrian Smith. Number 6, Book of Souls. Show a book or a magazine or anything printed by Iron Maiden. And that's going to be quite easy because I picked this beauty up on Friday. Today's Sunday. And it's this beauty, Infinite Dreams. The 50th anniversary coffee table book, if you like, of Iron Maiden. And it is just a wonderful, perfect companion piece to any Iron Maiden collection. Not least because you have pages like this, where you get deep dives into the wonderful art of Derek and those early Iron Maiden. They do, of course, look at the artwork for the latter day Iron Maidens, but for me, the man who created Eddie will always be the one artist for me. And like I said, I've had this for 2 days, and I look through it, skipping over the part where Adrian Smith leaves the band and some other things. No, but you get your pages about all black and white photos there, and deep dives into equipment, and Paul Diano there. And we also get the single art, especially from those Derek. Sorry about that. I sort of edited myself in the middle of a sentence there. That's not something you're supposed to do. Number 7, Scream for Me. Have you seen Iron Maiden live? How many times, if you have? Yes, I've seen them live. I saw them at some festival here in Norway some 8, 10 or 12 years ago. I cannot for the life of me remember which one. I should have studied harder. But of course I saw them live before that. And first time was touring my favorite heavy metal and my favorite Iron Maiden album of all time. One of my favorite albums of all time, hands down, Somewhere in Time. This gorgeous, amazing, Blade Runner of an album. And it was at Drammenshallen, about 60 kilometers west of Oslo. And aside from Steve Harris looking a bit angry at the audience, who I also got angry at, because they kept throwing lit cigarettes at, there were these extended hands at either side of the stage, and then a giant Eddie head behind the drums, and these were of course inflated, and people kept throwing lit cigarettes at them. So that wasn't very nice. But aside from that, an amazing memory to have seen them, and the first time was on this amazing, wonderful tour. And then I saw them again at what was then called Fornebu Arena, just across the border from Oslo at the Fornebu Peninsula. And they were touring the Final Frontier, and that's when I saw them. And I think this is En Vivo, which I thought was a good record to show, considering who's the guy behind this Iron Maiden Tag. And yeah, not a great experience. I was a little bit apprehensive because the arena was at the beginning struggling with the sound bouncing off a lot of metal. And I remember my AC/DC experience there was not great, but they put up a lot of heavy cloth at the back wall and so on in the meantime, so it was much better when I saw Iron Maiden performing here. Number 8, Stranger in a Strange Land. If you had a chance to see them live at any period in the band's time, or in the future for that matter, when and where, I would probably like to go back to Drammen a little while later, and because I missed them touring Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I think I was in Denmark at the time, so I didn't get tickets for that. And you know, that stage show looks amazing, just like the previous one did. So I would have loved to have seen them, even if it was just in Drammenshallen west of Oslo, playing this amazing album. Number 9, Isle of Avalon. 5 records you would take to a desert island. Now this is a really tough one in a way, because it feels like breaking up, I suppose, your kids, or giving away your puppies to new owners or something. So initially I would say I would bring everything they made from their debut up to Seventh Son. But of course that number doesn't add up, because I would like to, you know, for example, bring their live album. So I have to exclude a couple. My second favorite Iron Maiden album of all time is Killers. So obviously I'd have to bring at least one Paul Di'Anno record as well. And as you can see from the choice of framing, this is my favorite Iron Maiden album as far as artwork goes as well. So the debut album, sorry, but I do like Killers slightly more. And of course I have to bring Number of the Beast. Tough one. I had to leave one of them, but so I'll bring Peace of Mind, which is, you know, just astonishing. You know, To Tame a Land, Quest for Fire. Yeah, wonderful album. And sorry, Power Slave, but in whatever sense Iron Maiden is overplayed for me, that would be the one. Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight. Heard them a lot. But of course, Somewhere in Time is, you know, has to come along. And then Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, although arguably maybe I should have brought Live After Death instead, because then I get to get some of the songs that I didn't bring. But yeah, that is my answer to that, and that was probably fairly predictable. Number 10, Blood Brothers. Which record would you introduce the band to someone in your family, or, you know? I would probably introduce them to Iron Maiden with A Number of the Beast. It is maybe their most sort of immediate album, their most accessible album, and with you know, the just rampant, in-your-face introduction to the record with Invaders, that beginning, and, you know, yeah, good old Clive hammering away on the drums there. Yes, now I got the opportunity to mention Clive Burr as well, so good on me. So yeah, I'd introduce people to Iron Maiden with The Number of the Beast. Number 11, The Legacy. a release you have in more than one format. So aside from a couple of compilations and for example the content of that box, I have several copies of pretty much everything Iron Maiden's released, and it gets a little problematic because also I have some stuff still in Denmark. I might even have a couple of cassettes. So if we, for example, take an album like you know, Senjutsu, I have this nice double Digipack CD, but I also have one of these in addition, of course, to the album on vinyl. And same thing with Book of Souls, for example. I have various iterations of their debut album. As you can see, I have several copies of Killers. When we get to Number of the Beast, of course, I do have Number of the Beast. I have my old copy in Denmark. I have a couple of CDs, and I have this anniversary edition that came up out 3 or 4 years ago with Beast over Hammersmith. And yeah, this was the 40th anniversary. But I guess I'll just settle for showing another one that I have a copy of this in Live After Death in Denmark. I would like to get the new anniversary edition. I have this CD, but I also have the DVD of the concert. So, and the concert movie with the additional history of Iron Maiden part 2. Yeah, so let's say the answer is, you know, Live After Death for all the reasons I just mentioned, even though maybe it isn't, I don't know. Number 12, Man on the Edge. Why should you give the Blaze Bailey years another try? I don't know. I think you should probably try and find out that on your own. I am not ashamed to admit that I do not like those years. At the time, it became a bit too much for me. Adrian Smith already having left the band, and then Bruce as well. Of course, I was not privy to the mood of the band at the time. I were not overly excited about those 2 albums with Jannik Gears, and now suddenly we were getting another singer. Of course, it's not the singer's fault, but who seems like a perfectly nice guy, and who on his own, I've heard some of his solo stuff here and there. He had a fine voice, but it didn't gel with me. You know, Iron Maiden in my ears, and I've been listening to them for a while by this stage, you know, were either those very different but same part of the legacy, you know, Diano albums, and then, you know, Bruce. And I did listen with, and I do listen to this album once in a while, and I guess I tolerate, it might be a strong word, but I noticed a lot of you who made this seems to think that this is now a very nice album. I do not. First of all, I think the cover art is just abhorrent. Why does if this even is Eddie, why does he have ears? And this parade of people, it looks like he's got some old ladies' beads hanging around his neck. And sorry guys, I'm sorry to Blaze. It doesn't work for me. I don't like them, and therefore I don't listen to them. Sorry. Number 13, Sheriff of Huddersfield, a cool B-side. So I could have, you know, fished out the B-side CD, which is inside that wonderful box. But I'll show you the single where it came from instead. Adrian Smith again, and of course, wonderful Wasted Years. Such a good, you know, Iron Maiden track this, and you know, way to go not giving away the Blade Runner theme on the you know, on the premiere single from the album. But there's a song back here, a B-side. It's called Reach Out, and it's written by what's this, Dave Colwell, and he is he's been in Samson, Humble Pie, solo stuff. He's been in Adrian Smith and Project ASAP, which I unfortunately don't have in copy of. I foolishly got rid of them many years ago. And but what makes it even more special is that the lead vocalist on this is arguably Iron Maiden's unsung vocalist. You know, he does a lot of the backing vocals as well, and that is, of course, Adrian Smith. So, Reach Out, featuring Adrian Smith. Number 14, Running Free, a song while driving. I don't drive. So, that's the end of that. But if we are doing this, and we're doing it for Cristian, of course, so I think I'll choose the version on this record, although I should probably also show the original. But Phantom of the Opera, it's good. It's got a good drive to it, I guess, pun intended. And here, of course, is the song on the 40th anniversary. Quite excellent picture disc, and not picture disc. Number 15, 22 Acacia Avenue. You move into your new home. Play one record up to 10 to announce your arrival to the neighbors. Here's Johnny. Well, my dream is, of course, moving to a house where I have neighbors who are far enough away that I can, you know, finally play music loud, because I can't do that much in here in this flat. But I would spin a Number of the Beast, because of course the first song is, and I'm arriving, and I'm a Norwegian, Danish, Swedish person, so you know I'm a Scandinavian. So of course I will be cranking up Invaders. Number 16, Alexander the Great. Who is your favorite band member? And I think you've already guessed, it's Adrian Smith, the architect in many ways, in my opinion, behind Somewhere in Time, the greatest heavy metal album of all time. To me, and you probably cringe at this, but to me he is like the, you know, Depeche Mode had Alan Wilder, and Iron Maiden has Adrian Smith. He's the one who seems to be the most musician-like, the professional musician. He's the one who seems to seek out new toys. He's very much into producing and engineering, although he's a proper songwriter. Alan Wilder never wrote much for Depeche Mode, so this for me is sort of the Alan Wilder album with the guitar synths and everything, and what he tried to bring forward into the next album and managed to do. And then when he met, you know, his personal problems and writer's block, and was told that the next album was going to be like maybe in some of our years a pub rock album, he left Iron Maiden back then, and that was a tough period for me as far as Iron Maiden go, when Adrian Smith was not a member of Iron Maiden, but luckily we did get him back. 17, The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. You're going for a walk. What is the first and final track on your playlist? Well, I have an Iron Maiden playlist, but it's basically all the Iron Maiden albums, studio albums, and a live playlist, you know, minus the Blaze albums. But I mean, if we start with Caught Somewhere in Time and then end with Alexander the Great, then I've been listening to this album on my walk, and I'm very happy about that. So let's do it like that. Number 18, Weekend Warrior. So Iron Maiden love their football, and several of the members are from that part of London and are West Ham United fans. It's outrageous. Anyway, they're West Ham United fans, and so the question is, what is your favorite sport or team and so on? And of course, as you can see, it's West Ham United now. I'm not going to pretend that's the case. However, first of all, getting the favorite sport out of the way, I love baseball. I know I'm Scandinavian, I'm not supposed to, but I really like baseball. I like the pacing, I like the whole thought behind it, and you know, the duality or whatever, you know, the different games within the games, you know, and the pitcher there, you know, trying to strike out the batter, the defensive, the running, etc. And I have two favorite teams in Major League Baseball because there are two leagues, and I am all the way over here in Scandinavia, so I never get to see any of it. Boston Red Sox in the American League, partly because of Sam Malone from Cheers, and then Colorado Rockies from Denver in Colorado, because I went to Denver a few times and I love the city and I love the ballpark. Never been to Fenway Park in Boston, and since I will not be able to go to the US at least for another 3 years, if ever, I probably will never get to go there. I support Denver Broncos, the American football team, who unfortunately did not get to the Super Bowl, but you know, good on Russ with the Seattle Seahawks getting to the Super Bowl. I became a fan of Colorado Avalanche ice hockey team because of Peter Forsberg when he was playing for Sweden in Lillehammer Olympics here in Norway. I thought, I'm going to follow the team he ends up with, and that ended up being the Quebec Nordics for one season. Then they moved and won the Stanley Cup in Colorado. For football, I have been a fan since I was a little kid of Stoke. You guys have probably seen me wearing a Stoke shirt quite a few times. But around the time I was 12, 13, they started sliding down, you know, into lower divisions, and you never heard from them again because this was before internet. So that back then, I sort of chose as a second favorite team, or at least a team I could keep up with what they were doing. I chose the team that my favorite heavy metal band was supporting, and that was West Ham. So that's the reason I have the West Ham shirt, and kept up with West Ham and what they're doing. Of course, neither West Ham nor Stoke will ever seemingly win anything, but I also Colorado Rockies. But hey, the Red Sox finally won something, so you know, there you go. That is my windy, long answer to that question, and it gave me an opportunity to wear this shirt. Number 19, holy smoke. Name something you would like either them to release or some grail that you want to add to your collection. Well, I managed to get those, so I'm fine. Well, of course, I, like many other Iron Maiden fans, would probably like those Soundhouse tapes, you know, an original. Aside from that, and I wish, you know, you can't really have this done because it wasn't done back then, but I would have loved if there was a proper, first of all, if they had filmed it properly with film cameras instead of video cameras, some concert in you know, in the somewhere in time tour. I know I keep going on back and back to Somewhere in Time, but for me, that was my first experience seeing them live. So I would have loved if there was a proper live album from back then, and I would have loved if they could have done, you know, like Peter Jackson got there and did some AI magic with the because I know there are some video of the concert, but it's not very good. So that would have been ideal to me if there was some way, somehow able to resurrect both a live album and live concert film out of this. That would have been absolutely amazing. Number 20, Iron Maiden. Why do you still listen to them after all these years? It's just because they are so great. And although I did criticize them a little bit for being a bit wordy, you know, the wordage sometimes, and the songs in latter days being very long, it just cooks down to I don't necessarily listen to the latter albums as much as the early albums. But, you know, a lot of artists and your perception of them are formed by you discovering them as a young person. So it's very hard to get away from that legacy. And they are a legacy band. They are amazing. They're so important to so many current and previously current and yet younger artists than Iron Maiden. I mean, I cannot talk about Judas Priest in the same breath I can talk about Iron Maiden. It just doesn't. There's this passion they have for everything they do, in addition to the being so driven as musicians. And again, Adrian Smith is an example to me because of his love and love of history. Bruce also and Steve seem very interested in music. Dave seems like such a nice person. Nico, of course, is retired now, but still, you know, officially a member of the band. And you have Paul Di'Anno and Clive and all those people as well. So in that sense, I just, they are, you know, they're just the perfect melting together of circumstances that are beyond our understanding in a way. So that's why. Bonus question, courtesy of Kim from This Is Music. A Different World. Show an album by Iron Maiden related artist. So Kim covered most of the bases on that one. I don't have a lot, and like I said, I did have ASAP on CD back in the day. I could of course show Bruce Dickinson's solo album. I have all of them on CD and a couple on vinyl. It pains me not being able to show anything by Adrian Smith. I could, Smith Coulson, but I am going to show what was my very first album by a former member of Iron Maiden, the Iron Maiden. I bought that on cassette back in the day. I do think it's lying around somewhere in Denmark still, but a couple of years ago I came across it at a very nice price at a record shop here in Oslo called Tiger, which is 2 blocks away from me in that direction. And it's Fighting Back with Paul Di'Anno's Battle Zone. And I remember really liking this, and hearing it again all these years later, I still did. So, you know, bought when he was still alive, barely. I think he died a couple of months after I got this. And I was watching Metal Pilgrim the other day, and he announced that there is a documentary film coming out this summer about Paul Di'Anno. So you might want to look out for that one. So, if you've been watching this thus far, thank you so much. Please head on over to Cristian's channel and give him a sub if you haven't already. And of course also over to Kim at This Is Music. If you are, you know, if you like your heavy metal and you want to either reminisce about metal that you might have forgotten about or discover new. Those two are your source for that. Whilst I am more, you know, sometimes it's metal, sometimes it's electronica, sometimes it's indie, very often it's indie, very often it's Welsh, but there you go. Thanks so much for watching. Please click like, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Up the irons.